My name is Anna Chudnovsky, and I teach grade 3 in the inner city. I don't have a lot of numbers to share with you today. Instead, I have a story of a real student and his family. A story that I hope will tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a student living in poverty. I'm telling you this story not because it's sad, but because I believe that being poor makes it hard to learn. And when it's too hard to learn, lifting yourself out of the poverty you're born into is incredibly hard. There's a boy in my class. He is Aboriginal. He is 8 years old. He's the oldest, and he has a younger brother and a younger sister. And his mom is pregnant and due to give birth any day now. The family has just moved here from Smithers because his mom is trying to start fresh and give her children some of the opportunities that she didn't herself have. The family lives in BC Housing. This boy is smart, he is capable, he is kind, he is friendly. He helps others, he tries his best at school, but his life is too hard. The task he has in front of him is too grand, too monstrous to overcome. You see, he's poor. And when you're poor as he is, succeeding at school is such a very difficult challenge. We have a walking school bus at our school that picks up the kids from home in the housing complexes in the neighborhood and brings them to school. It helps to get the kids to school on time. It builds a bit of community, and it takes some of the stress of the before-school rush off the parents' shoulders. The walking school bus picked up this child last week, and when the support worker got to the door, the mom, 9 months pregnant, in a new city, trying to build her new life, confided in the worker that she had no groceries. She had only one single jar of olives in her fridge, and she started to cry. She was worried that she wouldn't have time to get groceries before the baby arrived. She's panicked that she won't be ready. Her son, my student, my kind, smart, lovely student, tried to comfort his mom as she stood there crying in the doorway. He is 8 years old. And then he came to school to try to learn. We're working on adding with regrouping in my class. His family is in utter crisis, and he is trying to learn to carry the one. This same boy, earlier in the year, when the weather was just getting cold, was wearing flip-flops to school. I asked him if he had another pair of shoes, and he said no. So I took him to the clothes room at our school. Yes, we have a clothes room. He chose a pair, and he looked very proud. When he ran off to go join his friends in the playground, he called back to me, "I'll bring back the shoes at the end of the day." You see, he thought that I'd given him the shoes just for the day, for his time at school. He felt so unentitled to shoes that he thought he had to give them back to me. That lack of self-worth is devastating. It prevents you from opening your mind to learning. It makes focusing on adding or writing a persuasive paragraph or learning the water cycle nearly impossible. This same boy's brother fell in the schoolyard last week. He tripped on a curb and got a concussion. Our secretary tried to call home, but the line was out of order. She walked to the home, got the mom, brought her back to the school, and told her about her youngest son, and she advised her to take him to the hospital to get it checked out. But you see, the mom didn't have bus fare for herself and her 3 children to get to the hospital. She was desperately ashamed to admit it, but she didn't know how she could possibly manage the trip. So this is a family living in poverty. This is a boy who's trying to learn how to carry the one while his life is in upheaval. New city, new community, new school, new sibling, new stress. No shoes, no money, no support for a mother trying her best to provide for her kids, to give them a good start. And this kid, this sweet, smart, thoughtful boy, is just trying his best to learn. To be clear, this is just one story of one student in my class. I could tell you others, of refugee families making a new home for themselves with a child who has nightmares every night of his father being shot in front of him, or of a student who was physically pulled away from the only parent she's ever known, or of a child living with her disabled grandmother and having to, at 10 years old, do all the cooking, cleaning, shopping, and maintenance because this grandmother is the only one in the family who is able to nurture and love her. I could tell you about a girl and her brother who chase the mice that live in their house back and forth from one bedroom to the other as a game. I could tell you about a little girl whose dad carefully butters one single piece of bread for her to take for lunch every day. There's more of them too. And they're all just trying to learn. And it's too hard. Because learning is about taking risks and trying your best. And it's about sometimes making mistakes. And when you're poor, when you're so poor that you're worried and anxious and insecure, learning to carry the one is almost impossible.